Welcome. I don't know why I did that.
Laci. The room is spinning. Everything is off its axis. Go ahead, take it from here.
I did something crazy.
You host this episode.
Hi, I'm Laci Roth, and I'm married to Matt Stokes, who
Hello.
sometimes speaks during these podcasts.
This is Load Bearing Beams, a movie podcast where we examine a movie from deep, deep, deep within the recesses of our cavity soul.
Ooh, get in there.
Take it out, examine it. I loved Heartbreakers. Do you love it too? And I watch it, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good.
That's not how I sound.
That wasn't you. That was a hypothetical person.
That's not how I sound.
So you see how this works. Everybody is take a movie that we look at from our past, from long ago. Does this hold up now?
I think they get it. We're a married couple. We're very funny. So today we're doing
funny.
Except for you. Today we're doing my Load Bearing Beam Heartbreakers in honor of the late great Gene Hackman. I wish I remembered he dies in this movie, and it's a whole lot happens with his poor dead body, and for some reason that made me extra. I always found it funny. This time I found it sad.
Oh, really? Because his death is really funny.
His death is funny, but that they have to fool around with his body after the fact reminded me too much of like the fact that it was weird at his house while he was dead in real life, and that made me bummed.
Yes, where the reports suggest his wife was dead for a week before he died. And I'm telling people in case they don't know. And his brain was riddled with Alzheimer's. He might not have even known where he was. That's the real Gene Hackman. In this movie, Gene Hackman,
he's fine.
He's on the poster, and I wanted to pick a Gene Hackman movie from Laci's. We keep a list of movies we'd like to cover. I have my movies. Laci has her movies. Heartbreakers, that has Gene Hackman on the poster. Now, Gene Hackman's in a big section of the movie, but he's not the movie. He's not the movie, and then he goes away. And if there's a major problem I have with this movie, it's like, how do you not have something for Gene Hackman to do? They don't really seem to have even a take on the character for him. Just cough and smoke a lot.
Yeah. You're right about that. But I think Jennifer Love Hewitt was such a big deal right around this moment. They're like, her tits are going to bring us through this fucking movie. We just need those in every frame.
Yeah, and I have some quotes from her 20 years later talking about how that's all anybody ever talked about with her are her tits.
Yeah, I know.
And,
she's perfectly proportioned, and it's rough.
She's like, I'm also an actress, and I think a solid actress.
I think
pretty good in this movie. Sigourney Weaver, pretty good in this movie, but I'm like, Sigourney Weaver and Gene Hackman, that's going to be the best movie ever. And directed by David Mirkin, the showrunner of the two greatest seasons of television in history, Simpsons seasons 5 and 6. How could we go wrong? And
we
didn't.
About
con artists, and we didn't go wrong.
We didn't go wrong. And Ray Liotta went so right. So I don't want to hear it.
The special thing about the movie is Ray Liotta.
It's Ray Liotta.
And the movie's fine, but he like parachutes in for the last third, and you're like, thank God. Now this thing's got a little kick.
It knew. Maybe we can't do Hackman and Liotta, but we need one of them.
But you look at the movie now, and you probably wonder, why wasn't this whole thing built around Ray Liotta and just excise the 45 minutes of Gene Hackman?
Forbid we have a mother-daughter focused movie.
No, I know, with them and him as the mark.
Oh, watching that whole play. Well, because they're just too cute together, they need to come together in the end.
It is nice.
It's nice. I love where it leaves it, and that it ends in a con. So nice.
It is nice. Tell me about your history with the movie. You see it in the theaters.
I have no idea. I definitely was having like a Kevin Smith moment. So Jason Lee was just very much on my radar as like this. Heartthrobs bothered me. Really, really attractive teens and movie stars was kind of all that was on offer. Now Jennifer Love Hewitt's in it, but to balance it out, I feel like Jason Lee is a very normal looking guy, and I always like that. And it was before like a Seth Rogen came on or any, I just like his normalness. I like how he kind of stands in for the audience, just kind of saying exactly what's on our mind. Kind of, that's always his thing. And I always like it,
I guess.
All right. Well, fuck you. I love anything about a con. I love anything with a plan. I like anything about people who are really, really good at something. This movie always kind of hurts my feelings, but then I get over it.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's just sad. I don't like that. I don't like that Paige has to toy so much with Jack. His name's Jack, right? It's Jack. Anyway, it pays off. It's fine.
When you say hurts my feelings, and I think you mean it insults you personally.
No, it's
just
like my feelings.
Women with black hair are stupid. And you're like, hi.
Nope.
It just makes you sad. Okay.
There's it's not fun all the way through. There's a couple parts where I'm like, get happy again, guys.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's only like 1 minute of it, and I'm just like, don't be mean to him.
What did you think of Jennifer Love Hewitt? What was your understanding of her in 2001?
I wouldn't have thought of her as an actress at all. I just think of her as like a ridiculously good looking, but not so much her face, but like her body's just it's endlessly fun to watch and look at and put clothes on. But I found her funny and cute. Like I found her endearing in this movie. Unfortunately, anyone put in the movies that were trying to be Scream are actors I don't like as much as the actors in Scream, because I'm like, oh, they're just trying to copy. Like it had anything to do with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like she had any control over it. But because she's part of she's like in sync, right? You came after Backstreet Boys. So I'm sorry.
And
you're the B cast.
She's the Nev Campbell of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right.
And that's very much the vibe of her performance.
Mm-hmm. And then
movie.
Sarah Michelle Gellar also gets lumped in. It's Cruel Expectations. Mm-hmm. That's the name?
No.
Cruel Intentions. That saves Sarah Michelle Gellar for me. But also because she did Buffy the Vampire the series, get fucked, Sarah. So anyway, I lump all those together as like my little scary queens. Either watch boner humor or you get scared with boobs. Those were our options during these days.
Those were the two kinds of people you are.
And I liked watching. This is a movie that spends a lot of time in like a resort location that always makes me want to watch it more than once. And I like watching all the outfits go by.
I was going to ask, is this an eye candy
It's not
movie?
eye candy, but it's not nut.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, that is close, Matt. What else would that mean? Boy, you're dumb when you're on Delsum. He's been drinking the old cough syrup lately because he's got a cough and he's not as sharp as usual. Guys, I want you to just take it easy on him. And I'll try to do the same.
Fine. She's like somebody who I've always been aware of just because of the three names, but didn't know what is she known for. And I guess I have a better sense of it now, but I guess she would have been like right before I came online being aware of.
Can't Hardly Wait isn't one of your movies?
No, I've seen it now as in my 30s, but it wasn't at the time. And I wasn't watching Party of Five, and I wasn't listening to her 4 studio albums.
What? She sings?
I was going to see if you
that plus
knew that.
Ray Liotta's dead, and you're just dropping all kinds of news on me.
Her highest charting single got to number 39, I believe, on the Hot 100, which is not nothing.
What's it called?
We'll take a listen and see if we recognize it at all.
I'm sure I will.
All right, so we will get into the brief history of Heartbreakers after this quick promotion for our bonus video. This movie, Heartbreakers, is about mothers and daughters, and sometimes there are some awkward moments. And sometimes they construct awkward moments.
Like when you get your daughter to fuck some guy for a con.
Exactly. So we
so
wondered,
awkward.
Got us thinking, got our brains wheeling and dealing and thinking, what are some times where we went to the movies with our mom and it was not good? It was awkward.
Or what are some times where we were the mom and we were awkward?
And so Laci and I each tell a captivating tale of it happening to us. You can find that video. Here's how you can find it. The only places you can find it. Twitter @LoadBearingPod. Instagram LoadBearingBeams. TikTok load.bearing.beams.
Or at these coordinates 5, 7, 20, 40. Is that a longitude?
Yeah, that is. But you won't give out the latitude.
No.
I keep saying you can see it on Blue Sky. Unfortunately, Blue Sky, you can't post videos longer than a minute. So I need to figure out a solution for Blue Sky. But
if anyone's got one, put it in the comments.
There you go.
Thanks.
Let's talk about the history of Heartbreakers. And David Mirkin is the director of this movie, and he only directed 2 movies, Romy and Michele's High School Reunion. We did an episode about that back in 2023, and that was actually the first episode we ever did where we did a proper history segment.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like the first real episode of Load.
I think so. Please don't listen to anything before that. We didn't know what we were doing. We've got a few random. There's a handful.
Yeah. I'd say 2023 when we came back with Grease 2.
Yeah.
We weren't doing history yet, but
we were cooking with
we
grease.
were starting to figure it out. It only took us 6 years at that point. So, David Mirkin directs 2 movies, Romy and Michele, and then Heartbreakers. Now, Romy and Michele is a movie with a giant cultural legacy, even though it wasn't a hit at the time. There's tons of oral histories. There's a huge fan base. It's getting a legacy sequel soon. Heartbreakers was actually a kind of moderate hit. Made more money than Romy and Michele, but there's nothing about this movie
Makes sense.
online. So what I could find was Jennifer Love Hewitt got interviewed on the 20th anniversary, and there's an interview with David Mirkin from the time of the movie's release. But David Mirkin created Get a Life, the Chris Elliott Show.
I like that show.
And it's a blind spot for me. I know I'll like it because I like Mirkin's sensibilities. And I think what he brought to The Simpsons in seasons 5 and 6, he was not somebody who worked on The Simpsons before that, but he was a James L. Brooks protege and TV lifer, ran the Newhart Show.
I love Bob Newhart.
Did Get a Life, and then went over to The Simpsons and really, really evolved The Simpsons past its early era into, I think, the true golden era of The Simpsons.
I think it's really cool that he only directed 2 movies, and they're 2 of my load-bearing beams. I think he might be one then.
Yeah, and then did not direct again. I think he tried, but he was already filthy rich from his TV life, and then he had this gig that he still has, being a 1 day a week consulting producer on The Simpsons. And he's probably in 2001 thinking, well, The Simpsons will go a year or 2 more, and then I can retire. And now The Simpsons is in season 37, and he still works 1 day a week and gets that paycheck. But that's David Mirkin. He said at the time that this script was sent to him. He didn't write the script, but he said, quote, "I turned the script down 3 times. I did not like the script when I got it. I did a rewrite on the script. That took about a year. They sent me the script and I said, I like the idea of 2 con women, mother and daughter con women. And I liked some of the bones of the story, but the script that I received early on was really broad. It had no emotion in it. It wasn't clever. And I think that con comedies have to be smart because the con artists are smart. Where if we're watching a con and we're ahead of it, then we're not going to fall for it. I said I was considering the movie, but I would have to do a rewrite." Basically, he took a year to rewrite it. He didn't, doesn't get screenwriting credit, but then he said he sent it on to Sigourney Weaver and she came aboard. Where was Sigourney Weaver at in 2001? Well,
she was not someone I really knew anything about because I didn't watch the Alien franchise till I met you.
She was 51 at the time. And one thing that's cool about this movie is it is just a legit grown-up movie. Sigourney Weaver is 51 and is 52 and is hot as hell in this movie. And it's reasonable that she's seducing all these men. And even in direct competition with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Right. And it's reasonable to see she could win. But her career launches with Alien in 1979. 1984, she's in Ghostbusters, which is where she first really shows her comedy chops. 1986, she gets the Oscar nomination for Aliens, which is an incredible Oscar nomination. And then 1988 gets nominated for 2 different Oscars, Best Actress in Gorillas in the Mist and Best Supporting Actress for Working Girl, which also shows
she's the boss.
She can do comedy. Yes. And then like in the 90s, she's in Dave and she's in Galaxy Quest. So she's in all these
very
comedies,
sci-fi.
But David Mirkin says the studio was skeptical about casting her. And he said, quote, "That's the brilliant people at the studio who want to see a tape, like a tape of the actress auditioning. Like, you're going to make Sigourney Weaver audition for this? She wants to do this movie." But he said, quote, "It's typical with a studio. You are kicking and screaming and dragging dragging them every step of the way. There's very few films, particularly good films, that you're not in a fight at every step of the road." End quote. I know from all the Simpsons commentaries I've listened to, he is very bitter about the way the business works and very much looks down on executives. So I can imagine, especially The Simpsons was very blessed in not having to deal with interference from the network due to the weird circumstances of The Simpsons' birth. It has basically this lifetime contract of the Fox executives can't interfere, and he probably got spoiled with that. Then when he went to make movies for studios, and suddenly they have lots of opinions.
Well, there's your answer. That's why he didn't direct. It's not that he couldn't. It's just that he did. He already made a name for himself. Why bang his head against the wall over?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So, quote, "For someone to question Sigourney Weaver at this point in her career about her being funny or sexy, look at Ghostbusters, look at Working Girl, look at Dave. There's a woman who's a brilliant comedian."
I'd even say Avatar. She's pretty hot.
I was thrilled when I sent her the script and she responded to it. It was great because not only is she funny and sexy, but this is very important for the film. She's the kind of actress who does not shy away from the darker aspects of her character. She's not looking just to be cute all the time and lovable all the time. Just the very nature of who she is makes her incredibly likable. That's part of what's amazing about her, but she doesn't try for it in her performance. She's going for what's true to the character, even if that's dark and twisted, end quote. Which is true in this movie. She's kind of unapologetic about who she is, and nevertheless, she loves her daughter and wants what's best for her daughter. Jennifer Love Hewitt, who was 21 at the time.
Good God.
Started her career on the Disney Channel series Kids Incorporated in 1989.
Kids.
What is this?
Kids Incorporated. I mean, it's just like a sketch, you know. I mean, it was trying to keep up with like Mickey Mouse Club. I don't know if it was more like all that or I can't remember. I remember just the songs at this point. So
She was on the Fox show Party of Five with Nev Campbell and Matthew Fox starting in 95. I Know What You Did Last Summer and its sequel in 97 and 98. Can't Hardly Wait in 98. She released 4 studio albums starting with Love Songs in 1992, Let's Go Bang in 1995, Jennifer Love Hewitt in 1996, and Bare Naked in 2002. Her most successful single was 1999's How Do I Deal? Let's take a listen.
it's for the soundtrack of. I already don't know it. Oh, Jennifer. Yeah. Bop. I have no idea what this is.
Just get to the chorus.
I'm just so cute, guys.
No, nothing.
No.
No.
Sorry, Jin
No
Jin.
recognition comes.
You're gorgeous. That's what you get in this life.
This is,
You're gorgeous.
It sounds like well-made approximation of what was a hit at the time.
Yeah.
Good job. After her run I think Heartbreakers was an attempt to bridge the gap, try to transition. Now I'm a grown-up. Take me seriously. Right. I'm a sex pot, but also I'm a grown-up. Look, I'm with Sigourney Weaver and Gene motherfucking Hackman, man. Her movie career didn't really take off from there, but she became very successful on TV. She was in the show Ghost Whisperer. And she's been
about that one.
She's been on this show called 911 on CBS or NBC or for its run for 19 seasons. She's a billionaire, I'm sure.
Oh. Good for you.
There's a 2021 interview with her on Vulture about the making of Heartbreakers. She was asked by the interviewer what she thinks now 20 years later about how much attention was being paid to her body and her boobs, not, at the time, including when she was underage. And she said, quote, "It's interesting. I just watched the Britney Spears documentary Framing Britney Spears, and there's that whole section in there talking about her breasts. At that time that I was going through it and interviewers were asking what now would be incredibly inappropriate, gross things, it didn't feel that way. I mean, I was in barely any clothing the whole movie. For some reason in my brain, I was able to just go, okay, well, I guess they wouldn't be asking if it was inappropriate. But now as a 42-year-old woman with a daughter, I definitely look back on it and go, ew.
Yeah. How old was she in Heartbreakers?
21.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when are you talking about the underage parts? When was she being...
Like Party of Five? I think even... So if she's 21 in 2000, then... I know
what about Can't Hardly Wait?
I know What You Did Last Summer and Can't Hardly Wait. She's 18, but maybe filming them when she's 17.
Okay, then that's the... Yeah. Because she's in hardly any clothes in anything.
Yeah. So that's Jennifer Love Hewitt, and that is our brief history of Heartbreakers. Somebody out there... Hey, hire me. I'll do an oral history. I'll go get in touch with these people.
He's really good at oral.
Yeah, I can ask questions of the best of them. So what was it like? And this movie was a pretty decent hit. Opened at number 1 amongst all your Lord of the Rings and your Harry Potters. You just get this nice movie starring people being con artists.
And you're gonna laugh. Mm-hmm. Leota's got you covered.
Would you, if they announced there's a Heartbreakers sequel, Heartbreakers what would you think?
I'd say use an apostrophe at the end. And I'd also say, no, thank you. I don't know. I'm all I do with every movie is just wait for you to tell me if I'm watching it or not.
No, that's not happening. But
you filter my movies for me, Sarah.
Gotcha,
that's what I'm saying. Like I just, yeah. Just wait for you to tell me what the scuttlebutt is, and if it's a good scuttle.
But you could.
I'll put my butt in the
JLH has a daughter of her own. Now she's teaching her the tricks of the trade.
I don't want that. No, I haven't seen her act since this movie, so I don't have an interest in her. I mean, whatever. Do something good, and I'll watch it, man.
I think the only things I've seen her in are the Garfield movies, where she is impeccable. She's wonderful in the. No, I don't. So the Garfield movies.
Garfield.
Garfield.
Is she normal?
She's the vet. She's John Arbuckle's like hot vet.
So
girlfriend.
she's hot.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Oh, it must suck to be her.
Yeah.
That's the history of Heartbreakers. Tune in to our movie discussion coming up next.
Oh.
You know what's nice about this movie? Legit Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer picture, which is why it's on Amazon Prime, which is nice, but also is terrible. But we won't get into that. Laci said, "What is this, Beetlejuice?" when the music hits.
Oh, you've got me so... I don't notice effects like you, but I notice scores because of you. I'm getting better at it.
What is this, Beetlejuice?
Because I called it.
And indeed, the theme is by Danny Elfman, although the rest of the score is by John Debney. Theme by Elfman, score by Debney. What is this, The Simpsons? Because Danny Elfman does The Simpsons theme, but not the score.
There are Elfman moments, though, throughout the movie.
It's Debney doing an Elfman.
He's doing it.
We open at a church, and it's an elaborate Catholic wedding.
For a 50-year-old woman.
In this sort of blue dress.
And the weird, this dress has always driven me crazy. The fashion in this movie, it has never felt like, yes, that is what you should be wearing, Sigourney Weaver. She's pretty. She makes interesting choices. I don't think there's an outfit I like in the whole movie that she wears.
It's interesting because there's a screen credit that says Miss Sigourney's Miss Weaver's outfits by, and then costumes by. So it's like she had her own person.
Yeah, they're like couture or something. I mean, they're pretty. They're for a certain, they're age appropriate. They're just not my style. And I like what Jennifer Love Hewitt's wearing the whole time. And I guess I'm supposed to, I was a teenager at the time.
She's walking down the aisle in this blue dress. A hush falls over the crowd. She's getting married to Ray Liotta, who's playing Dean Cumano. And then there's a wedding reception sequence, and you were like, is Ray Liotta the person who's gotten married in movies the most? Think about it. We can name two.
We can name two.
Heartbreakers. The list goes on and on.
I mean, but he gets a reception. This guy recepts, is what I'm saying.
No one receives like Ray. And I broke the news to you that Ray Liotta died 4 years ago.
You did.
And you were like, oh, that sucks.
It hurt to hear.
It does. And I broke the news in real time. I was recording in the music studio with my friends Wade and TJ, and I broke the news to them, and they were both like, oh, no.
He's just a guy you don't want anything bad to happen to. He's so full of life. He never entered crotchety old man phase of acting. He's just always energetic. Hey, oh, I don't know. Or even, I don't know. He's a person with energy.
For some reason, it didn't occur to me until my late 30s that Ray Liotta's a really special actor.
Yeah.
I think I was always just yeah, he's the guy from Goodfellas who isn't De Niro and isn't Pesci.
Exactly.
He's the lead of Goodfellas, but not the flashy lead. And so I just but then I realized all the movies where I love his injection, but he's not a leading man. He is the injection off the bench of the microwave. He's heating up. And in this movie, he really
he's
rescues.
Dennis Rodman.
And it's weird because I think in the beginning of this movie, he totally doesn't necessarily have a handle on this character. But over the last 30 minutes of the movie, he comes back and he is pitch perfect.
I think he has a perfect handle on this stage of his life in this movie. He's just some guy that really actually loves this woman who's making him wait for marriage to have sex in their 50s.
Right, but I guess that just isn't that interesting to watch him play.
What's there to... Yeah, I think for what he has to do in the beginning, he's perfectly in tune with the character. He just doesn't have anything interesting to do as that character yet.
Sure. So they're having their wedding reception and they're dancing, and Ray Liotta's like, "Can we get? I think we've made an appearance here. Can we go get to fucking now?" Because she has made him wait until marriage. And he's like, "Yes, of course. Let's get going." But then the best man's like, "Hey, fiddle dee dee, I gotta interrupt and take a dance with the best lady." And now there's a sort of montage where we see all of the men are dancing with Sigourney, and Ray Liotta is frustrated, and now it's the end of the night and she's dancing with the busboy and getting drunker and drunker as she goes. And finally he's like, "Enough of this," and takes her up to their room.
It's a real craft, though, the way that's like, she always seems so into it. She always is like overly sexual and like, "I can't wait to fuck." Like, there is something. She is skilled in this position. She is acting totally in love, totally smitten, completely horny, and keeps finding ways to, "Oh, I guess I can't have sex with you. Oh no."
Yeah, he picks her up and carries her down this endless hotel hallway.
Past twins.
And she whispers to him, "I'm going to do things to you no woman has ever done before."
How? Where did you learn these things?
Well, I aren't we to assume that she has been married, but that the character she is presenting is, "I've been married before."
Yeah,
that's why I'm
hence,
this age and in this blue dress.
in the blue dress, right? So maybe she's like a widower or whatever, but the two are hard to square.
But he's like, "Oh my God." And he starts running, and there's a very funny visual gag of just showing how long this hallway is. And he just keeps going and he's gasping for air. Finally gets to their room and his key card isn't working. So he just kicks it open.
To a suite.
Yes.
It's a nice place.
And she like removes her outer dress and has on this inner sex costume or whatever this
Which
is.
It's just wow.
She rips open his shirt and then looks down at his dick. And it's one of many comments in the movie about how big his dick is.
That's how much I love you, baby. You must love me a lot.
Yeah, I fluffed it. I made it extra big.
Right, yeah. What does he mean? Like, I was always confused by this line. 'Cause she seems to be saying your dick's big, and he seems to be saying, "Look how hard I got it." Not the same thing.
Wouldn't have gotten it that hard in the past. So
right.
He like gets on top of her on the bed. He can't get her sex costume off, so he takes a knife from his pocket and starts slicing it off. And it's like one of the sexiest things ever for both of them.
Well, they're showing you right away, like, look, you think you've figured this out, but like, you guys are an equal match, because she obviously switched the key card so that he'd have to not be able to get into the room, anything to prolong, right? But he figures out, he kicks the door down. Then she purposely wears an outfit that's impossible to take off, and he pulls out a fucking knife.
Yeah.
But she just rolls with it.
But why won't she just have sex with him?
Well, because then she'd just be having sex with all these people she's conning, and she's trying not to have feelings for any of them, and trying
not to have feelings.
And trying not. That's not part of it. She's conning them, not fucking them.
Just have sex with Ray Liotta once. It's Ray Liotta. He did the knife thing.
I mean, I agree. But no, he's got to be horned up for the next part of the con.
That's true. God, you're right. Okay. So he's like, he goes down on her foot. She's like, "Lick my heel."
Yeah, he's got a foot thing in this.
And as she starts snoring and he can't wake her up. So he contemplates throwing the ice bucket on her, but decides not to, and instead dumps it down his pants.
Which is so sweet.
Well, I think this is
weird.
Well, this is like an old thing in TV and movies is go take a cold shower if you got the blue balls.
But it's also shows you in that moment, okay, whatever it is that he does in the next scene, he does care about her. He thinks of her as a person. He thinks she deserves to sleep. He's not going to dump ice on her. In fact, he's going to dump it on him. So it does a lot in the setup.
That's true. He does. I mean, just go jack off. Why do you need to dump ice on yourself?
Because he's like falling on the sword, you know. But it helps balance. You don't want people to not like Ray Liotta. So when the next thing happens, you can kind of still feel like he really did have feelings.
And I felt I knew at some point that this is a movie about con artists, but I had forgotten it. And so 6 minutes in the movie, I have no idea what this movie is. So it's the next morning. He is patiently waiting for her to wake up. He's like, "Hello, sweetheart." And she's like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Well, you fell asleep."
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a bad wife. I'll make it up to you now with
Starting
sex
right now, my morning breath."
Oh my God, she's got to go puke. And she's like, "We can still have sex." And he's like, "No, that's okay.
Take as long as you need, 2 hours.
So he's going to go. I don't know how to do a Ray Liotta impression. He
Seems like the easiest one. Hey. Hey. I'm doing
Karen!
it.
Why'd you do this to me, Karen?
That's really good.
So
use guys. He says use guys in this movie. Use.
He's gotta go to the office to take care of a few things before they leave for their honeymoon. So we follow him to his like salvage shop. He's like repossessing cars and
he's stealing cars and then selling the parts.
Okay, that's what this is.
Right.
He goes in and all the guys who work for him are like, "Hey, boss, you have sex with your wife or something?"
You did the back and forth like this?
I bet Angela's a real animal in the sack, huh, boss? And he's like, hey, that's my wife.
That's the sanctity of all of this.
Goes up to his office and his assistant is Jennifer Love Hewitt, who keeps bending over to sexily present her butt to him.
Her dress doesn't even cover her butt when she's standing. That's the butt situation we're dealing with.
There was a person on set whose job was to go pull her dress down to keep her butt covered.
Yep.
Then she gets real close to him. I have some papers for you to sign.
Right. It's all almost, it's too much. I'm like, are you guys really good at this? Because it feels like who's buying this? Only that fucking guy from Devil's Rejects who thinks that lady wants to have sex with him. Call back.
Yeah, Mr. Banjo.
Yeah.
So she drops some papers on the ground and he bends over to, she's like, here's my butt again. And he gets on the ground. I'll help you with these papers. And then they start kissing. Mm-hmm. It seems at first like she isn't going to reciprocate, but then she jumps on him and then goes down on him and is like, your penis is huge. Also frostbitten.
Yeah.
But then Sigourney Weaver shows up.
But her hair's caught in the zipper, that Jennifer Love Hewitt going down so fast. So Jennifer got herself stuck.
Right. She hides under the desk. This is the second movie in a row we've watched where a woman blowing a guy hides under a desk.
That's where you go.
The Firm was last week's episode. And Sigourney Weaver's like, hello, husband. I just came to say I love you. All right, bye. And then she steps out for a moment. Jennifer Love Hewitt comes back up, but her hair is stuck in Ray Liotta's zipper. Then Sigourney Weaver comes back in, sees a compromising position from the two of them. And she's like, we've only been married 17 hours. And he says, the 17 happiest hours of my life. But she throws the wedding ring at him. And that's that.
That's that.
We're in a divorce hearing now. I like the movies jumps forward in time. They're always a little like, oh, thank God. So we're at the parties are meeting with their lawyers. Carrie Fisher is making a cameo as Sigourney Weaver's lawyer. I have a question for you, Laci. What is Sigourney Weaver's character's name? According to Wikipedia, it's Max.
What?
I don't think that's ever said. She has lots of aliases. She has Olga and Angela.
Max Connors. She has her. I know her last name's actually Connors, but I don't know what her. I mean, they must say it at the fucking bank scene because I only know Paige. Paige gets said a million times.
Yeah, it does.
But you call your mom, so that's the problem.
So Sigourney Weaver wants $300,000 and she wants her Mercedes, and Liotta accepts it because if he doesn't, they'll go to litigation and they'll start looking at his company. You can't have that. So
pretty smart target, Max.
That's that. But then we find out when Sigourney Weaver drives to a gas station, she is met by Jennifer Love Hewitt, who removes a wig she was wearing.
Like, what? That's the stupidest part of their cons is that their hair's always different. Like, you look exactly the same otherwise.
Right.
Your voice, your way you're dressing.
Would not have noticed that her hair was different. Glad she took off the wig for this moment so I could be like, oh,
a red version of your exact hairstyle.
So Sigourney says, I can't believe you wore the gray dress. I told you to wear the blue. And she's like, it worked, didn't it? You were lucky. I was good. They do this fun credit card swipe con. I love that they will never turn down an opportunity to do even the smallest of cons.
It's just a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You just, if you're paying for something with your money, you're losing.
Right, exactly. A guy comes up, he puts his credit card in the gas reader, and Sigourney Weaver's like, Mr. Gentleman, will you come help me with my map? I can't read it. And while he does, Jennifer Love Hewitt takes the card out of his thing, puts it in her own pump, and then returns it. I'm like, that's very smart.
That's smart. He's not even really going to notice that on the Amex bill.
Then she gets into the car with Sigourney Weaver. She's going to light up a cigarette. Sigourney Weaver takes it from her, throws it out of the car, and Jennifer Love Hewitt is like, Mom! So this is where you find out they're mother-daughter. Oh, my God. How was the wedding? Beautiful, like all my weddings.
Oh, God.
So they go to a nice dinner, and Sigourney Weaver lectures Jennifer Love Hewitt, who we now found out is named Paige, about how much she is eating and smoking. And Paige asks, so how much money do we make on this? And Sigourney says,
80, when she actually got 300,000.
80 plus the car. So is that supposed to tell she's holding out on her daughter?
Yes, she's lying to her all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Like, well, you have to pay off a lot of people. This is just your profit. But no, she's just holding out on her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But that never really comes back.
No, but because the point is, this is in them. They're yeah, that's her mom, and yeah, I'm your kid. But if I need to con you, I'm gonna fucking con you. Like there's no other part of my personality. There's no safe person from this. If I love you and we're gonna be in each other's lives, I'll probably con you less.
Well, if I con you, it's out of love. I'm conning you for good reasons, which she does.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They don't come back to the money part. So, and we have no reason to think that the account she goes to the bank to empty is the only one. It's the one that Paige knows the amount of. That tells you there's a second one, which that never comes up either. But I think it goes a long way in showing you, like, no, this isn't every breath we take.
Right, and it's by no means an equal partnership. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, Paige wants to get out of it. She's like, I want to go out on my own. And her mom's like, no, you can't. You're not ready. You'll if you try to con a man instead, you'll just fall in love with him, and then bam, he will pull a conceive and leave, which is what happened to me. So Sigourney Weaver, when she was a young woman, was conning a man, but then fell in love with him, and then he impregnated her and then left her forever. And so she's like, I'm determined.
She was conned.
Never to let this happen to my daughter. After she got pregnant, thank God, Barbara took her in and showed her how to pull off cons. No,
she wasn't conning. I don't think she was conning that man. She didn't start conning until after.
So it's just, so don't love ever.
Ever.
Not even if you're not a con artist.
Because if even a man would conceive and leave with me, that no one's got a shot.
Okay.
She thinks very highly of herself.
Okay. But if you really think it's time for you to go out on your own, fine. We'll go to the bank tomorrow. We'll divide up everything. Meanwhile, I'll get the check, and they show the thing where she smashes a plate under her chair and then dumps some glass shards in her food. And
I'm always thinking, like, one shard will do it. Who's going to miss an entire spring, like just a pepper shaker full of fucking glass? Over Connor. Speaking of Connors. All right. Now they're at the bank because the mom's going to make good. I get no sense of like where they live though. Like, okay, you've got a bank that you go to in person in.
Yeah.
But you probably don't live in the same place for very long, but there's no talk about, well, I guess they are trying to decide where they're going to go next.
It's not the kind of con artist movie where they're going to actually tell you how this works, because you're like, wait a minute, she got a divorce settlement, but she's using a fake name. How does that work? And now this IRS agent.
Well, she has a bunch of passports too. All that matters is that the money gets into the account. Whatever one it is.
All right. But then the IRS agent comes in and she's like, you've never paid us taxes on all your cons. It's like, so the IRS has lumped all your fake identities together.
No.
Now, we find out this isn't actually the IRS, but.
Right. But she's calling her by her actual name. And if this is her real name for this actual account, that means she's been taking funds from her alias accounts and dumping these mass sums of money into account, which is stupid. You shouldn't do that. You can't do that. They get flagged by the bank. They don't have an IRS agent come if that happens, but you do get reported. And so it's not crazy that the IRS would get involved. It's just crazy. It's just like, oh, come on, Paige. They're not at the bank.
Well, right. This IRS agent played by Anne Bancroft comes in and she's like, I don't care how you make your money, but how should I put this? We want our cut. Mm-hmm. So you owe $250,000, and that's after all the money that we've confiscated from all your accounts. So they're left with nothing on hand. So they gotta.
Paige is naive. Like, this is also not how that would work. That's not a thing. But the point is they just want it. Maybe part of it is to see how naive Paige is.
Well, and then I guess I'm naive because I wasn't suspecting anything when this happened. And I was like, oh, thank God. If the IRS ever comes after me, they'll be nice about it. And they'll be like, you have 90 days.
Yeah, right.
Goodbye. You haven't paid your income tax in 10 years. All you got to do is pay it now and we'll be fine. Which is actually kind of how it works. But don't do it.
Okay, don't do it. Good advice.
So, they're like, well, here's what we have to do, Mom. We have to do one last big job.
But we're doing it my way, which is more money than you want to do it for.
Here's my idea. We get more money.
Well, more money, and the guy's hot. She wants someone that's kind of cute. That's her big grievance.
Yes. When
they're on the boat trolling for new prospects. I guess I just would have to think that the way they find a target is more involved than what they show. This one they need to do in a pinch, I guess. But It's like, did the internet not exist yet? Or like at least the library or something? Or like maybe a stack of newspapers? You guys are just in a boat.
Yeah, Paige should be like, Mom, we don't have to go out on a boat anymore. Look, I've got the World Wide Web at my fingertips. And she's like, I don't trust that. I trust a thing called my gut.
Well, but Paige wants to look for her own mark. And so now we're using Paige's gut on this boat. So we'll get to the boat in a second.
She's like, we need to go to Palm Beach. And Sigourney's like, no, we can't go to Palm Beach. Those people are too rich. They'll be suspicious.
Right.
There's no play. But they go to Palm Beach anyway.
But when you think about the target they just had, Ray Liotta, he is a criminal. And so it's a very smart person to con. If you can find a way in that where they're not suspicious and they make a good living, and then, I don't know, it's smart. What they did actually, I could see that working in real life.
Right. You go after people who are upper middle class or like, yeah, I have a couple $100,000 worth of assets.
Right.
Not I am a big tobacco CEO worth billions.
You don't want to be scared of their attorney. They can't be able to get themselves out of trouble if that's what you're going to use over them. And you don't want to not be able to get there'd be a prenup. There'd be more fighting in the divorce scene.
But they get to Palm Beach and Paige is like, I'm home. And Sigourney's like, no, this is too ritzy, too expensive. I'm trying to figure this out. Like Paige feels like she deserves, isn't Palm Beach
full of the richest people in the world? Yes.
But also old Republicans. That's the point of it. But Paige is like, yes, where I truly belong.
But she just means the hotel. She means she deserves the best of the best. That the mom keeps making them stay in these budget places and budgeting the money and making these small scores. And that's just taking too long. Paige feels like she's hot enough and skilled enough to just get one big score and then fucking lead a normal life.
Gotcha. So they debate, which con should we do to get a room here? Let's go with the flopper drive.
Okay.
And Sigourney just trips her daughter right there without warning her and then squirts water on the floor. And she's like, oh no, my daughter's paralyzed.
They're very good at that. Well, Paige is less good, but Sigourney's very believable when something bad happens. Oh my Lord. There's just something I guess something's wrong. Wait, I just saw her do that. Yep.
And Jeffrey Jones is the hotel manager. And he runs out and he's like, oh no, this never happens. We cut to them now having their own suite and a giant table full of desserts. But Jeffrey Jones is like, you can only have the suite for one night. And then when he says that, Paige in the background starts screaming again. He's like, we can work something out.
Just like the way you gotta be steel on the inside to be okay with this. I can't think of a lifestyle more against my sensibilities.
No, you'd be bad.
I would be.
You don't like lying, period.
What I'm saying.
And I guess doesn't say good things about me that I'm like, Laci, just lie. What is wrong with you?
Because you'll get caught. We'll all get caught. It's worse.
No, everybody's lying all the time. Everybody's trying to scheme you and con you. I'm like, Laci and I have a Sigourney and Jennifer relationship, kind of.
Wait, which one? Both of those ladies like to con.
No, you're like, no, the world is pure and beautiful. Okay, no, you're Ray Liotta.
I'm Ray Liotta.
And I'm like, no, the world is going to fuck you with its giant dick.
Oh, wait, that's Ray Liotta.
So Ray Liotta, we check in on him and now we're not going to see him again for basically 90 minutes till we forget about him. And he's told by his employees like, boss, the title change came through on your ex-wife's Mercedes. And then Ray Liotta throws a framed photo of her across the room. And the employee's like, that's the 8th frame we've gone through this week. Maybe we should stop.
Maybe we should retire the picture.
But he's like, I can't stop thinking about her. And the guy's like, well, it's the first time you've ever been dumped. And he's like, you're right. I don't have to just sit here and take it. I'm going to go find her and take care of it. So we assume, he's going to kill her.
Oh, I never thought that.
But it's clearly framed like that.
You're right.
And
it is. But he loves her. So I just thought he meant that he was going to rape her.
But when he finds her later in the movie, he reaches into his pocket ominously and you think he's going to take out a gun.
Oh.
That's what is meant to be suggested. And this movie is it has the sort of structure of Some Like It Hot, the 1959 Billy Wilder film. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen this movie. I don't
think so.
Marilyn Monroe, Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis play musicians who witness a mob hit. So they have to go on the lam, and to do it, they disguise themselves as ladies in a female band. And they go down to Miami, where they kind of run cons on rich men. And it has this kind of tone. It's mixed. It's more of a broad comedy than this is. But then you kind of forget about the mobsters, and then they basically return to the movie at the exact same moment Ray Liotta returns to this movie.
Well, got you. And he's a mobster.
Mm-hmm. So they rent a boat. They're driving around. They're on their boat looking at mansions, looking at yachts. They pass by this super yacht, and there's like a man on it who has 5 different women. And they're like, he's going to fuck all 5? Yeah.
And I know it's just to set up the joke, but why is Paige okay with a menage a trois? One of the people is your mom.
It's like, you'd be okay with that? Menage a trois? Try menage a cinq. Ew.
Like, how's the... Okay. If 8 is gross, then how is 3 any different? And it doesn't make any sense. 8 seems like a load off my mind. You can't even tell if you've had sex with me. I'm just in the mix.
Right.
I'm just back here. I'll throw a leg around. I don't even have to fuck you.
No, I was there. No, we fucked.
You were in me.
You fucked me, Mom.
Oh, God. I wasn't. Don't make me part of that. I was pretending to fuck a man.
We get our
that
first
I'm not related to.
Look at Gene Hackman as Tensy, who's here's Gene Hackman's take on the character. He's constantly coughing.
Got a red nose.
I said yesterday I feel like Gene Hackman is poorly used, and I know it's not. It's not even a top 100 performance of his, but he has some really great lines and some classic Hackman moments. But they're like, look at him. He's the CEO of Cigarette Tobacco Incorporated. He's worth $3 billion, going up by millions every day. And Sigourney Weaver's like, ooh, perfect. And her daughter's like, ugh, if you're into necrophilia, why can't they target somebody cute? And this is where Sigourney lays out her philosophy. You can't go after somebody cute because you start developing feelings for someone if he's cute, and then everything gets confused.
It's like, but Ray Liotta was cute. He's known to be a fox. Right. What are you talking about?
She's so seasoned she can resist it. So Paige wants to target this doctor instead. There's this rich doctor, fancy boy, but he's too obsessed with his mother, and they're like, well, let's do both. Well, no, you can't do simultaneous cons.
Now I'm with her on that.
Paige is like, well, you won't let me be the primary. You won't let me take the lead on a con. And you should trust me. I can make men do anything. You can make boys do anything.
But wait, but if we're to believe they keep running the same con, which makes sense, you want it flipped, Paige. If you can make guys do anything and your role is to make sure they cheat, shouldn't you stay right the fuck where you are?
It's working.
Because as soon as your mom tries to do the flip, she doesn't fucking pull it off.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Idiots. Why do I know how to do everyone's job better than they do?
A one-shot seduction is child's play compared to getting somebody to marry you in 3 months.
4 months.
4 months.
This time it took you 4.
You're losing it. And she's like, I'm not losing it. I'm wonderful. I'm in great shape. Feel my butt.
Yes,
and Paige is like, I'm not feeling your butt again, mother. We all know it's wonderful.
Okay, these voices.
So they're trying to simultaneously. So they're like, okay, fine. We'll run an experiment. See that guy over there? He's played by comedian Kevin Nealon.
Oh yeah, I see him.
Whoever he buys a drink for first picks the con, and Sigourney Weaver wins by just coughing. And he's like, "Can I buy you a drink?"
Right, because Paige relies too heavily on the sex kitten thing. It gets boring. It is obvious. It how long can it last? And once they fuck you, what's the appeal after that? Where Sigourney goes in and she just is practical. She mixes it with both. Oh, you need a drink. Right.
It's the Jordan Belfort thing from Wolf of Wall Street. Sell me this pen? Sell me this pen? How do I do that? And people keep trying. And then what does the guy do? He just like takes the pen away and he's like, you need to sign your name.
Right.
And like, but I don't have a pen. There you go. Mm-hmm. There is an art auction that Gene Hackman valets into, and the scheme begins where Paige goes up to a valet attendant. She does some sexy shenanigans and then ends up with Gene Hackman's car keys,
where she cuts the brake line or cuts some kind of line, fizzles out the car phone so you can't be using that. And you lift a trunk and then you snip some stuff, and I'm gonna believe that car can fly. Like, I don't fucking care. You did a thing to the thing. I got it.
Sigourney Weaver's going in there disguised as a Russian socialite.
I hate the wig she picks for this role.
She sits down next to Gene Hackman. Let's see. The auction is being run by Ricky Jay. He's the auctioneer, and he shows a Roman statue called Form and Repose. This statue has a giant penis. Keep that in mind. It keeps coming back.
Oh, does it?
And Sigourney swipes Gene Hackman plays Tensy.
Right. Tensy's pamphlet that's got I guess if you go to auctions, you can assume someone circled some things, maybe written the exact number they're willing to pay for it. I'm sure that's how it works, but that's how she finds out what to bet on and how much.
And he's not going to go higher than 200,000. So they get into a little bidding war, and she makes the highest offer, and he's about to one up her, but then he goes into a coughing fit, and Ricky Jay's like, sold to the lady over there, and she's like, da, oh no,
da.
So like two dudes are carrying the statue away, and Sigourney Weaver's like, oh shit, I can't pay for this statue.
I need to track it for cracks. And so she's just rubbing the shit out of this. Man, men are dumb. I guess I need to try this, but just rubbing the ass and then up the thighs and now to the penis and then just talking close. Just always have good breath. Just, it is good, no. It feel hard, no. I don't know what she's even saying, but he's just like gaga goo goo.
Yeah. And the guy who's walking backwards
that's the
is
guy
making
that's
goo goo eyes at Sigourney Weaver, and then she basically steers him into the wall.
She keeps eyes, right? So that he is not paying attention, and the dick snaps off. Oh no, his kabishka.
Well, Ricky Jay comes in and he's like, this is okay. We can have this restored. No problem. And she's like, no, it's no good. No good without its pipiska. So Paige, she's already going off script. She is stalking the doctor, doing simultaneous cons, even though her mom told her that's not what you do.
And while you're supposed to be making sure you're laying out the con that your mom's doing. I don't like this time management, Paige.
Right. This is like having two Valentine's dates on the same time.
But you don't have to fucking Mrs. Doubtfire this dinner. You could just wait a different day.
So she finds out that this doctor is going to a bar and grill. A very boring looking bar and grill. But it's like, it's the happiest place in town.
It is the most majestic.
It is?
Tropical. What are you talking? It's a sprawling
it looks like a Joe's Crab Shack.
It's authentic, and it's surrounded by like beautiful fucking Everglades shit, and it's chill, and it's got nice.
Too far away. She arrives at this place,
insane.
the Glades, and Jason Lee is there, and he's talking to Sarah Silverman and Zach Galifianakis, and you're like, Jesus Christ!
And the least Sarah Silverman and Zach Galifianakis performances ever.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis was in movies for a long time before anybody knew like what his deal was.
Right.
And here he's just like, I'm the best friend who's a little concerned for my friend Jason Lee. Now, Jason Lee comes up to so Paige sits down. Jason Lee, who we will come to learn is named Jack, approaches her and he's like, may I offer you a drink? And she's like, why? Because I am a smart and sophisticated lady. Why do you even care if you want to give me a drink? It's because I'm hot, you pig. And he's like, no, it's because I'm the bartender. And she's like, oh, martini, very dry, because she's a grown up. The doctor arrives and seems very unimpressed with Paige. She like goes and puts her boobs in his face and he's like, no, thank you.
Those look like mothers.
She looks on the wall and sees a chart that shows the Heimlich maneuver, and she gets an idea. He's a doctor. I will pretend to choke and he will save me. So she like starts filleting some olives on a stick, trying to make eyes with him. She thinks he is making eyes with him, but he's just making eyes with his mother, who has just arrived. So she's going to fake choking, but then she ends up actually choking. And the doctor just stares at her. And then Jason Lee comes in and Heimlichs her. And she spits the olive out and it ends up in the doctor's eye. And he screams in agony as his mother soothes him.
Oh, it hurts. Oh, mother. Oh, it stings, mother. Oh, honey, I told you. You can't come to these rough bars or whatever. It's a bar and grill. And it's adorable. All right. Time for... I don't know. She leaves in a huff she's nothing but extra crazy mean to. She really has a very low opinion of men in general. And I think I understand why. Paige has been raised understanding that a conceive and leave is always possible if you actually fall in love. All men are con artists. They're all pieces of shit. And she's been told to use her body since God knows how young she was. Men are so easy. I mean, how could you fucking respect them? They're disgusting dogs. If most of them treat you this one way, I guess you're going to be annoyed by the 70th thousand person to try to pick you up in a bar, but like you're doing too much, Paige. Anyway, she's got to bring out the spike strip in this random part of the Glades so that Gene Hackman's character rolls over them and gets a flat tire just in time for her mom to come and save him.
Right. But she throws them out onto the road, but it's not Gene Hackman, it's Jason Lee.
He was coming to give her purse.
He's like, why are you following me, you sicko? And he's like, but I have your purse.
Like, I can just come back for it, right? You don't have to get in your car, follow me to my next location, get out, and passive aggressively give me a purse.
Well, she yells at him and she's like, well, look at your fucking car. Let's fix it. Fuck.
Oh, because he runs over the tire.
Yeah.
Thing.
Go get the flat. I don't think they have good chemistry. And I don't know, Jason Lee, I don't know what his choice about this character is. He kind of plays him like stoned or detached. He's like,
that's it. That's Jason Lee.
Yeah, I know, but he's being given like these screwball comedy lines to deliver.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I'm willing to explore the whole being dominated thing, but let's just take it slow.
It works for me.
No, he can't deliver these lines.
Oh.
This performance actually made me realize like, so this is Ryan Reynolds' value is he could handle like really wordy screwball lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, for sure.
Gene Hackman is coming now, so she pushes Jason Lee into the woods, forgets to remove... Wait, no.
She can't. It breaks. She tries to remove the spike strip, but the little thingy comes off.
Starts making out with Jason Lee to keep him from going to look at Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman drives over the spikes, crashes... His airbag deploys, but he's still a little nonplussed and he just lights up another cigarette.
Because it breaks his cigarette. He's pissed at the deploy.
His car phone won't work and he's like, what the hell? Now the spikes are still in the road, so Sigourney Weaver runs over them and then crashes into Gene Hackman.
Jason's like, wow, they're really piling up down there. But don't worry. Paige has another smooch for him. Mm-hmm. That'll get him.
So Sigourney goes up to Gene Hackman and she's like, you'll have a head injury. I take you to the hospital. He's like, no, I'm fine. The police will be here soon. So she just knocks him on the head with some sort of implement. And she's like, see, the lead head pain. Oh. And she gets him into her destroyed car and drives him to the hospital.
But you're tired. It's no problem. And he goes, oh, okay.
It's good.
It's good. Oh.
Before Sigourney Weaver is going to go to the hospital to see Gene Hackman, it's the next day. Mm-hmm. She puts on her wig and makes her face up, and Jennifer Love Hewitt's like, Mom, be nice to me and I'll tell you which eye you made bigger than the other with her makeup. And Sigourney Weaver says, I'm always nice. Which is something she says repeatedly through the movie. Also, I think Laci will say to me when I say, you're mean. She's like, here, I'll go get you my eyeliner. But fuck, I realize I have left it with Jason Lee again.
Oh, no, I need my purse. He kept it.
She goes to the Glades, and I like that she just kicks the door open for no reason. She's like, give me my purse or I'll stick my heel up your ass. And he has the most Ryan Reynolds-esque delivery of, who told you I'm into that?
Yeah.
Now, I know that Jason Lee predates Ryan Reynolds. I'm just saying. And, Ryan Reynolds is always with the ass play in his movies.
Oh, that is true.
So now Jennifer Love Hewitt gets her purse back and Sarah Silverman comes up and she's like, here's the deal with him. His dad left him this bar. It's worth a lot of money. Developers are after it. They offered him $3 million.
Okay, bye.
And she's like, $3 million? So Sigourney goes to the hospital to visit Gene Hackman. She's like, I come to see my poor babushka. My name Olga. And he is instantly smitten. Is there ever a moment where they're like, we did the intel on him and realized he's a sucker for Russian women?
Right. I mean, there's not that moment, but that's what I figure it means whenever all of a sudden that's what's happening.
Right.
It's a long movie, so maybe
they do something.
No. So maybe they cut out scenes that explain this.
Oh, okay.
And they're just like, I mean... Surely they did intel to figure out that he would like the name Angela for Ray Liotta. Maybe it's the name of his sister or something. And he likes curly hair on blonde. I don't know. I guess you just kind of assume they're taking on roles that match the men.
Yes. Gene Hackman's character had a Russian nanny named Olga when he was a boy.
Yes.
So later she is going to visit him at his home and she is greeted by Miss Madress, played by Nora Dunn. She's like, I run this household and I'm on to you, lady. And then she slams the door shut and Sigourney Weaver says out loud, we have a bitch alert.
Bitch alert.
Don't you think this movie needs better jokes?
Yes. There are moments where yes.
They go, Gene Hackman takes her on a date to a Russian restaurant.
Duh. And yes, this is always my problem when part of your con is that you speak a language you don't. No, you don't. You know how easy it is to figure this shit out?
Because the waiter comes up and he's like, oh, Vlad, this lady here speaks Russian.
It's your countrywoman, and she hates meat. And so he reads to her the menu items, and she picks steak tartare, but she didn't know she picked it until after she picked it. And
the joke is all she knows how to say is da.
Da. Oh, And then he figures it out because he starts saying a lot of things to her in Russian later. And so, you know what works? Conning, greasing the wheels,
just
bribing.
some money.
I appreciate what you say and also what you don't say.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, fuck it. All right. Okay. But you would think he's paid off enough to also get her out of a jam when all of a sudden she's spotlighted to sing a Russian song.
Right. So
where are you now?
Yeah. So
Vlad?
the way this works is, well, first I do love Gene Hackman saying like, I love a woman who eats raw meat. I love to watch a woman eat. It is surely one of the most sensual acts. And then she's like, I want to leave this place. I want to go somewhere where I relate to you orally. And the cigarette falls out of his mouth. So she stands up as the band on stage is like, and who come up to sing song?
Oh, I guess it's you, woman. And this is always in a movie. This is definitely something that needs to go on our list as something that's more exaggerated in a movie. That any restaurant or freaking bar can force you to get on stage. That the sheer incitement of the crowd can just whirl you up there.
You stood up at that time? Get up here, bitch.
Right. Like, I was like, no, I'm leaving. I got to go con this fucking guy. Like, I mean, her, of all people, aren't going to roll over because people are like, no, you got to do it now.
But they present it like, you are Russian. Every Russian knows Korobushka. Come up, sing Korobushka. And she tries to fix. She's like, Korobushka.
But she's just saying like
Moscow.
John Lennon. No, not that Lennon. She's just saying Russian words.
But no one's buying it. So she whispers to the band, like, play something else. And they play a traditional version of Back in the USSR by the Beatles. And everyone gets like really into it. Like, flew into Miami Beach. I don't know. What do you think of this?
I think if anybody that doesn't really want to get on the stage ends up on stage and then kind of makes a fool of themselves, but then all of a sudden has a song and it goes kind of well, I think I'm into it, and I'm just glad that she's going to get off the stage. It's just public embarrassment. It's like, okay, that was not a train wreck. Okay. All right.
As a sequence in the movie, are you laughing?
No.
Are you like, great, this is wonderful?
No.
Because I think the movie thinks this is the funniest shit. The Beatles, but Russian? What? And David Mirkin's a Beatles fanatic because there's a John Lennon song later in the movie.
Yes, there is.
And I just know that from Simpsons commentaries.
Meanwhile, Paige is going to take the night to stalk Jack to see where he goes. He goes to the fucking Florida swamp and to stargaze. And she's in the craziest fucking dress, spandex, black dominatrix shit. I don't think she's ever used more than 2 feet of clothing on any part of her. Anyway, okay, but she gets her heels stuck in Florida goop and falls down in the mud, and he finds her and he's like, "Are you stalking me?" But she cleverly spins it around and be like, "Why are you following me? I'm a marine biologist."
I love that. I love
the reverse stalker.
Reverse accusation. If ever you're accused of stalking, just be like, "Why are you following me? Wherever I go, you're there."
And actually, she's very believable. And I don't know, but he seems to like know she's full of shit all the time, and it's part of what he likes about her. And okay, I don't know, like, were your family con people and this is, you're very attracted to all these lies? Or could it be her giant rack and perfect face and remainder of body? So he helps her out of the mud and they go adorably stargaze, and she doesn't
This is what
care.
I do. I have a telescope. I look at the stars. Ew, you look at perverted stars fucking on boats?
They deserve...
No, the stars are the stars.
They deserve privacy too. Who you got?
Look, there's the Corona Nebula. And she's like, oh, it's pretty good, I guess.
It's fucking gorgeous. I didn't expect to see that. And then he's got some kind of cluster, and she says it's a good cluster. And then she's putting the con back on. She's like, wait, I'm not done. I just need a few more minutes with this cluster. It's so clustered.
But I guess she is. It's not communicated very well in the performance that she's like a little moved by this, or like, this guy's a little different from the kind of men I've seen.
Well, because she's expecting him to go to some trashy club and just hang out with a drink and look at people on the dance floor. You know what I mean?
No, she
is different, and he is different. If these are real people, I mean, I could see either of them being like, there's something going on with you.
Our son recently got into looking at the night sky. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's been a couple of nights where I've just gone out and looked up too. And I'm like, look at that. That's pretty cool. It's the dumbest observation. Just like the stars are really neat if you think about it.
it's something to rediscover over and over again. We forget. And then we go,
That's crazy. They're just stars and they're there. And they're like
just like us.
A billion miles away or something.
A billion? That's more than I expected.
So they're like laying down on a blanket, whispering sweet nothings to each other. I love when the star shoots in the sky. Oh yeah, I like that too. Okay. And then she's like, oh God, I gotta go. Well, why? I gotta go write an environmental impact report. And he says, will it mention me? What's your name? My name is Jane.
No. Oh. Does she say that then? Okay.
Yes.
Will I ever see you again? Wish on a star.
And so
That's
he goes.
A fucking boss ass move though.
Oh, sure. So he goes and looks in his telescope and now sees the yacht with the guy fucking 5 women. And he's like, 5 women.
It's a good callback.
Paige doesn't tell her mother about Jason Lee because now she is running a simultaneous con, which is against her mother's rule, and dating a cute guy. Don't do that.
Don't do it. They are apparently at this hotel for a month.
Yeah.
God, that's a long time to con.
So later she's going on a walk with Jack and he has a gift for her. It's a ring. And it's got a meteor fragment in it, like the ones we were watching. He's like, just think about it. This meteor's been from the back of space and back. She's like, oh, you're not like, you don't do anything like normal people, do you? And they start kissing again. But notably, her eyes are open. You can track her feelings by whether her eyes are open or closed when she kisses.
Really natural. Hopefully they kiss a lot in front of people so that they're all alerted. This is what fucking Max or fucking Mrs. Connors is saying, that in all cons, every time she's found the moment that she should be kissing her con, she's just wide-eyed at them, even in front of his family. All right.
No, but it's the she's probably not ever followed any of her own rules. She's just like, you're my daughter and I know what to do and I'm telling you the rules. Now follow them. Open your eyes.
And when you sneeze, you open your eyes.
Now this movie has like a bone to pick with cigarettes, which is kind of an early 2000s, late 90s sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like now it's just, I guess this was seen as a little like, yeah, give it to those tobacco companies. And now cigarettes seem so marginal. Like why, who gives a shit? But Gene Hackman.
This was a very important movie to get people to stop smoking, Matt.
It was?
No.
Oh. Gene Hackman is he's like just always talking about how smoking is one of the fun things about being a kid. We just did some tests on some 9-year-olds and after a little puking you couldn't drag them away from the stuff. And then later he presents her with a bespoke cigarette lighter. He's like, it's a gift. And she's like, nah, personal file device.
Right, like, is this really how fucking people from Russia speak?
Yeah, they don't know about lighters.
Right.
I know Russian people don't smoke. That's one thing I know about them.
Oh.
They certainly... No, of course they smoke.
Oh, okay. Don't confuse me.
And he's like, now listen, I'm not insisting you take up smoking, but I thought this would give you some incentive.
I didn't have anything to light them with before.
There is nothing sexier than smoke billowing proudly out of a woman's hot, red, engorged nostrils. Oh, that image will haunt me. And so he's like, I think I deserve a big fat kiss for that gift. And she's like, oh, yes.
The Lord is, Jesus is everywhere.
No getting around that. And then she kisses him and he wants to go further, but she's like, no, God is everywhere. He's like, yeah, he's a nosy bastard. All right, I'll go get my maid to get your purse. And so he leaves the room and Sigourney starts spitting in disgust. And she is seen by the maid, by Miss Madras.
Is he really that disgusting to you?
She's like, no, it's Russian sign of happiness. A pepper, my happy pepper. A captain and the vessels. And she's, Miss Madras is like, I'm on to you. I've been with him for 7 years. I've seen him with many women and I've never been worried. But you're good, baby. What is it you want? And she's like, I want your ex-commie ass out of here. Basically, she's like, I've been with him a long time and he is so close to croaking and I am getting my cut once he dies. I'm not going to let you take it away from me. And she's like,
is that how it works? If you don't have family, it goes to your fucking house person? Like,
man,
that's...
I just recorded a podcast with Patrick about the Twilight Zone last night and he asked the exact same question about what happens if you die without
right, it goes to the government. Like it doesn't. I mean, unless he physically wrote her into the will, it's not going to go to her.
So there actually is now. I don't know about Florida probate law, but if you die, they call it intestate. If you die without specifying who gets your estate, they will basically track down your closest relatives, like the movie Baby Boom, and and offer it to them. And I think there's like a pecking order, and then maybe it will be friends. And at a certain point, they will run out of people and just give it to the government.
Well, but the lived-in help part is what I'm saying. Like how, and if she was physically written into the will because of what a loyal servant she's been, then don't worry about it. You're in the will.
No, the new wife comes along and is like, we got to change the will. Because that's what happens.
I mean,
how do you think,
fine, but
Gail
it takes
Benson owns the
time.
Saints right now? Allegedly.
Yeah. All right.
So she's like, oh, you have figured me out. Leave me one more night to bow out gracefully. It's Sigourney Weaver helps Paige.
I took up smoking to impress you.
I love to see a woman cough.
That's right. You don't cough, you don't get off.
That's what they say. That's what that means. Sigourney Weaver helps Paige sneak onto the compound. Now she's pulling her into the con. Basically, they're
She's been in the con, but yeah.
Directly onto the premises. And you gotta take my bespoke lighter, my personal fire device, and put it into the maid's outfit. So there's a funny little gag where she's talking to Gene Hackman, and he's like, all this secondhand smoke nonsense, it's bullshit. There's not a shred of evidence. And he's like blowing smoke onto his parrot, and then he steps away and the parrot just drops dead. That is a Simpsons joke right there. But man, this movie has an axe to grind with cigarettes. Give him a break.
Oh God, Matt, you stop smoking them.
I haven't smoked a cigarette in 2 years.
2
I
years,
guess.
yeah. But you're gonna again. Because you're disgusting.
God willing. And by the way, when I say 2 years, I mean I smoked
that you smoked
3 cigarettes 2 years ago, and that was the first time in years. And
because when we go out, and we never go out, we smoke. It's just something we do.
Fun little,
I don't know,
rebellious act that me and
we're
Laci
crazy.
Do. We're like, let's smoke cigarettes.
But we have one date night every year and a half, so I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. So the smell of cigarettes, I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
It just smells like
horny.
sex.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm at the casino. I'm drinking. What could be better?
Okay.
So, give cigarettes a break is what I'm saying. Sigourney Weaver says to Gene Hackman, my lighter is missing. Last time I saw it, your dirty maid had it, had my purse. So they go into the housekeeper's room. What is her position? She's a governess. She's a housekeeper. All right. She runs the house.
She's a nun. Okay.
They go into her room. They find the lighter, and Miss Madress is like, no, she set me up. And Hackman looks over at Sigourney. He's like, I set her up.
Like, oh, you don't believe me. I'm going to cry myself so hard. I'm going to lay on this bed. And then jingle, jingle. Oh, my God. There's jewels in the pillowcase because if I'm going to lay down at night, I want to lay on everything I've stolen. And she dumps out all the jewels. Oh, and then
my late wife's jewelry.
And then Olga's so taken aback. She stumbles around and then hits the chifforobe and cigarettes just pour out. Now you think he'd be proud of her for smoking that much, but instead he's like, I think I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, it is. It's very funny.
Gag.
He's way more upset that she stole his cigarettes.
I'm gonna be sick.
Now I did think like I did realize that they have done all of this. They've put the jewelry in her pillow and the cigarettes. But it'd be funnier if
some of it were
that she actually had taken the jewelry.
Right.
So she looks at Gene Hackman. She's like, look in my eyes, sir. You must believe in my total and complete innocence. And he kind of gives her a nod.
Zoom out. And then she's arrested in the same position.
Yeah. Take it away. Another Simpsons style visual gag.
Man, this really is a Simpsons movie.
It is. It's more the Simpsons movie than the Simpsons movie itself, if you think about it.
Fucking wish.
And Gene Hackman gives some cash to the cop. And he's like, if it's at all possible, could you rough her up a bit?
Slap her around a little.
The cop's like, of course.
I mean, I'm going to take this money.
Now, I think this is Jennifer Love Hewitt's only scene with Gene Hackman in the movie.
With him alive. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
But okay, so now the tension is that Paige promised Jack that she's going to go to a baseball game with him and his friends, but but she's going to be late because now her mom needs to do this con moment, and she's like, look, I'm only going to be like 5 minutes late, and he's like, okay, but it's taking longer than she expected, and she's trying to get the job as the new maid, and it's just going on and on. So she's like, fuck it, I'll go straight to rubbing his dick.
So she's interviewing for the new governess position, and she's like, "Oh, I worked at the British Embassy in Turkey."
Both doing fucking accents. It's just like, come on.
I worked there for 4 years, right up until they shot him. And there's a very funny Gene Hackman reaction. He's like, "Oh, they shot him." It's like, but I kept cleaning right up until they burned the embassy down. She says that very proudly. Very funny. He's like, well, I'll just fill out this form and I can verify your employment. And she's like, oh, of course. And then knocks a drink onto his pants. It's like, oh, dearie. And she starts caressing his thighs.
She's
and he's
just
like,
patting it
blah,
dry.
blah, blah, you're hired.
She's just patting the outline of his dick.
Yeah. And then he's like, it's still wet. So the
He's like,
joke there that he cummed himself?
No, like that she needs to keep going.
Oh, okay. Sigourney escorts her daughter out and she's like, all right, well, that worked. So what are you going to do with the rest of your day? And she's like, oh, nothing. Just take a me day.
Gonna take a walk.
But her mother is suspicious. And so
follows her.
A lot
of following.
First page goes to the bar where Jack's friends have left without him. And she's like, oh no, I missed Jack. But no, Jack is there. I've been waiting for you. My friends have this theory.
And I love you. It's so sweet.
Oh my God, yes. They start kissing, but this time her eyes are closed. Sigourney is spying on them with binoculars. Later at the hotel, Sigourney confronts her daughter. Well, she's like, where have you been? Oh, nowhere. Lies, you liar. So it's supposed to be like a normal like mother-daughter thing, but instead you were out with that boy who you're supposed to be conning. I like Sigourney Weaver's like, when she confronts her, she's like, you've been lying to me. That's why you've been so nice to me lately. And she's like, I have not been nice to you. So JLH is like, I can't believe it. JLH.
That's a thing?
People say JLH. It's just it's a lot of name. Jennifer Love Hewitt explains the con, but Sigourney Weaver is like, no, you're in over your head. You're not ready to con a guy without falling in love with him. I saw you. Your eyes were closed. That was the sun. I am a pro, mother, and I'll prove it. So she goes back to Jason Lee, kisses him, and then she's like, there, nothing. And he's like, what? And she's like, but the best for you. And then she kisses him some more, and then she pulls off her shirt, and she's about to go all the way with him and then pulls herself away. And she's like, no, I gotta go. I'm no good for you. Trust me, I'm a bad person. And he's like, no, you're good. I know it. You're such a good person. You don't even believe in sleeping together before marriage. And she's like, I haven't been honest with you. And he says, I know you're not an environmental scientist and I don't care. But she still leaves anyway. All right. Now Anne Bancroft returns and we're like, hey, the IRS agent. No, she's not an IRS agent.
Holy shit, this woman will con anybody.
She's
conned her own
Sigourney
kid?
Weaver's mentor who has never met Sigourney Weaver's daughter, Barbara.
Right. Did they not grow up at her house?
She
thought they took her in.
No, she says, I haven't seen her since she was 4. No, 3. They're just, hey, that line's in there for the CinemaSins doctors out there being like, wait a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, so this whole IRS thing, it didn't exist. They were just conning Paige to
they have their money.
Protect her. But Anne Bancroft's like, aren't you cradling her a little too much, sheltering her a little too much? No. When she's ready, I'll be the first one to tell her. But get this, I just caught her kissing some loser, some dirtbag with her eyes closed. Oh my. I'll take care of lunch. And then has glass shards in her purse that she just
a nice little vial. And Sigourney's like, I am always learning from you. Classy.
Well, what did you already knew this?
No, Matt, she doesn't have to find a glass that she can find at the restaurant, break it with her heel, risk people hearing it break.
I could have told her that.
Well, she's always learning from you too.
So she goes back to the hotel, sees how unhappy Paige is. Wait, did I say? Yeah, I mean, I guess Paige, that was a breakup.
Right.
And then told her mom, like, fine, that con's off. I broke up with him. So later Sigourney sees how unhappy this has made Paige, and she feels a little bad about it. Jack keeps calling Paige, and Paige keeps hanging up. And then we see him at the bar, and Zach Galifianakis is like, dude, she's no good for you. There's something weird about her. And he's like, yeah, but that's what I liked. And Sarah Silverman said, yeah, I did too.
And which I
Ralph.
Gene shows up to the hotel, so I guess he was told where she lives. Anyway, she's startled because I think Paige is still around someplace too. And what the fuck, you're gonna see all my con clothes? And he just rushes in and
he has the penis statue. He got it repaired for her.
Oh, that's what it is. He's like, look at this gift.
And he's like, we're not going out tonight. We're staying in. I ordered champagne and oysters from room service. And she starts crying. And he's like, it's okay. I didn't charge it to your room. And she's like, no, I can no longer see you. And hands him a letter saying she's being deported. And he's like, oh, this sucks.
I was going to ask you to marry me.
I was going to ask you to marry me. Anyway, enough of that.
That's now that you're going to be deported.
Well, maybe you marry me and that fix my problem. And he's like, oh, great. Olga, will you? And he has a horrible coughing fit. And she's like, will you? Go ahead, get it out. Marry me. She's like, oh, yes. Yes, I will. Later, he gets into his underwear and he's like, we will join our love with the union of our aching bodies.
Oh, my neon green socks.
And she's like, no, my religion. And he's like, no. In God's eyes, we're already married. Everything else is just paperwork.
He's a good businessman.
Just relax and enjoy it. But then he starts going into a coughing fit, falls, hits his head on the penis of the statue. It falls off again.
Breaks in his mouth or so. Yeah, it goes in his mouth.
Collapses onto the ground. He is probably dead. And Sigourney Weaver tries to resuscitate him. William, are you at the end? And she's like, I give you the CPR. And then she just slips back into her normal accent. She's like, God damn it, no!
And she does one compression in the and it's just funny gag that she then exhales smoke because she tried to give him CPR.
That is good. That is good. We check in with Paige. She accidentally answers a phone call from Jack. She is like driven out to the stargazing location because she's sad. This is a thing people, when they're sad in movies, do is they go to a romantic spot.
They go to a place to just look at it.
Have you ever done this, Laci?
Like a serial killer who kills in one spot. You want to go back and just look at it.
Gotta return to the scene.
Yeah.
You ever return to a scene? No, me neither.
No.
She accidentally answers a call from Jack. Because her mom called and she's like, it worked. He proposed marriage. Woo. She's like, yeah, mom. Woo. And then hangs up and then gets another call. And she's like, mother, I already told you woo, but it's Jack. He's like, why won't you talk to me, babe? And
she's like, outside the restaurant, isn't she? Not outside the stargazing place.
I think it's the stargazing place.
I don't think so.
Whatever.
There's a column behind him.
Well, because then he says, he's like, oh yeah, then why are you here? And he's right next to her car.
At his restaurant.
Okay, fine.
That's why he's there.
She's like, listen, I told you I loved you and that freaked you out. And she's like, there is no love. It's just a trick of the brain, a combination of hormones and chemicals.
Well, then I hormone chemical you.
Exactly. And they kiss some more and then she's like, I gotta go. And she speeds away. Goes to rejoin her mom at the hotel where they have to get rid of a corpse. So they cover it in a blanket and it has a giant boner. But room service arrives with the oysters and the champagne and they have to get Gene Hackman's corpse out of the way. And then they accidentally drop him over the side of the balcony and he falls down 10 stories. It's a very funny visual gag. And so they go down to the lobby. They have to go, figure out what to do with the corpse. As they're going down the elevator, Sigourney Weaver's like, God, you're just the worst. You're always fucking up my daughter. You're always doing shit like that. It's time you grew up. And then they go into the lobby and Ray Liotta's there. Oh, hey. And he's like, Angela, I got something for you. Reaches into his pocket like he's going to withdraw a gun, but it's a ring. And he drops down onto his knee and proposes. And he starts shouting, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I like that some of the people in the background are like clapping and others are like, very confused and worried.
Yeah.
And he's like, please, what'll it take? I'll do anything, baby. And she's like, anything?
How about I tie you up in my bed for some fucking reason?
How about anything? Okay, go
away.
Go get her room here. We'll have dinner. We'll have breakfast tomorrow and talk about it.
Right. Anything? Yeah. Leave.
Anything? Okay. So we cut to her tying him up in the bed and he is like, oh my God, this is the best.
Except for no blindfolds. That shit's too kinky.
But she
talks him into it.
Yes, and puts a blindfold over him and she's like, I just have to leave to get some whipped cream.
Whipped cream.
And he's like, please be fast. Oh my God. So she leaves. We stay with Ray Liotta and he's like, oh, can't wait for that whipped cream. And then the housekeeper comes in and he's like, no. And the housekeeper, instead of running out, is like, oh my God.
Not again.
I have been turning down this room for a month with no tip. And she's like, fine, I'll fucking tip you. Go get my wallet. And she goes to get his wallet, but she's like, which wallet is yours? And he's like, what?
Women can't have wallets.
So this is his clue. Oh my God, there's another man's wallet here. Untie me. And she's like, that'll be another 20.
Smart lady.
So they return Gene Hackman's corpse to his home. But Sigourney's like, where's the penis? And her daughter's like, oh, it's in the car. I'll go get it. And Ray Liotta arrives here at the compound. Now it's like one of Ray Liotta's like early breakthrough roles was this movie Something Wild with Melanie Griffith and Jeff Daniels, and he is like this wild card element who enters in the last 30 minutes of the movie as her ex-husband, and it is kind of echoing this because he's like very scary stalker here in that movie. Here he's like scary stalker who's actually sweet and funny.
Yeah.
So he arrives, he's sneaking in, and at this point, I think for the remainder of the movie is like really, really fun. I feel like it's really cooking with some energy here.
Which is almost never the case. It's like dips or something, this kind of, it gain. I guess the middle is where it usually dips and then it gains energy. But I feel like we're usually saying by the third act, it's the bad movies lose steam.
Yeah. I just think he has such a great, he just adds such a great, he's the missing piece.
And he has chemistry with both of them.
Yeah. Especially with Sigourney.
Yes.
And so he goes into the room where Gene Hackman's corpse is laying on top of Sigourney because she's too heavy for her to get off.
She's making lots of groaning and moaning, and it's
oh, you're enormous. And he's like, oh, you are one sick slut.
You fucking slut.
And she's like, I am not a sick slut. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt comes in. She's like, one penis coming up, mother. Oh. And he's like, mother? Oh my God. And he has a classic Ray Liotta freak out. And so Sigourney's like, oh, I'll try. Dean, I still love you. Just give me another chance. And he's like, no, oh, you cheated on me.
You cheated on me. No, you conned me.
No, you conned me. You cheated on me. And he's like, but you sent her to cheat on me. He acts like he's going to shoot them, but Sigourney's like, you're not going to shoot us. And she correctly identifies this, takes the gun away. And he's like, fine, I'm not going to shoot you, but I'll turn you into the cops. And they're like, how about we let you in on it? How about we get you your money back?
Right. That's when Paige decides to con Jack. Because
not yet.
Are you sure she doesn't come save the day right here?
No, she's like,
how are they going to get money from this?
We're banting it? Like, does that sound good to you? And he's like, I'm not walking away, am I? So, okay, you just have to help us. You have to make it look like he died here, alone and peaceful. Do you know how to do that? He's like, I'm from Jersey, aren't I? Mm-hmm. So in the car, Sigourney and Jennifer are in the car by themselves. And she's like, where are we going to get the money? And she's like, well, I lied to you. Our money's not gone. We have it in the bank. So Paige freaks out at her mom. It's the next morning. They're at the bank. They're going to withdraw the money to give it to Ray Liotta, but the bank's like, yeah, there's nothing left in your account. Your account's been closed. And they're like, fuck, Anne Bancroft played me.
It's interesting that we're all deciding to believe her here, though. She could have just walked out and been like, it's still there, but oh no, I guess Barbara took it.
Right.
It's just funny when they decide to believe each other and when they don't.
But it's also an issue that like you spent the majority of this movie thinking, well, the stakes are they don't have any money. That's why they're doing it. Then we kind of find out, no, that's a lie. We have money. Well, and then we go back again. No, we don't have money.
Yes. It's just Sigourney Weaver trying to buy time and make Paige not leave her. She's just stalling and it works.
So Ray Liotta's like, I'm gonna fucking leave. And Sigourney Weaver starts crying. She's like, I'm a terrible mother. And her daughter hugs her and she's like, Mom, finally you're seeing things clearly. She's like, but no, I'll take care of this. She goes up to Ray Liotta and she's like, you want to marry me? You want money? The guy who wants to marry me is worth $1.5 million.
In a divorce.
She
would get half. He's worth $3 million.
Right.
Great.
So.
All right. So she half-heartedly goes back to Jack, and I don't remember, except I guess he's just like so excited to see her, and
he proposes to her.
He proposes, right?
And then he announces to the bar, and Zach Galifianakis is like, well, now that you're getting married, you're not going to sell the bar, are you? And he's like, oh, no way. Plus, the developer passed. They found another property. Jennifer Love Hewitt hears this, and she's like, oh, fuck. Jason Lee, I got to tell you something. He's like, oh, already you're changing your mind? But then Ray Liotta and Sigourney Weaver burst into the bar and they're like, oh, it's our favorite cousin. It
is interesting that they don't do mom and dad, but all right. Because so they're all related. And that's our Jane.
Having second thoughts. No, you kiss and make up and Ray Liotta just smushes their faces together. Liotta is playing this with so much joy. He loves being a con artist.
Yes.
It's so great.
It's like being called to the priesthood.
Right.
Yes.
So they all go on this sailboat trip together. And like Sigourney Weaver's trying like, why don't you rub lotion on my titties?
Yeah.
Jason
Where's
Lee.
the lotion boy?
And Ray Liotta's like, look at all the fish in the water.
These fucking fish. Pop, pop, pop,
He
pop.
takes out his gun and starts shooting at the
Got
water.
him. Like the goal is to kill them, not to eat them. Just, all right, they're dead.
Sigourney takes her daughter to get a wedding dress. She sees her daughter in a wedding dress, has a very sincere reaction, like a sort of normal, loving mother reaction. Oh, my beautiful daughter's all getting married and shit. And her daughter's like, oh, you don't have to be sarcastic, Mom. And she's like, no, I'm not being sarcastic. It's sort of the Matt affliction of you can't say sincere things because they sound insincere. But then it's the wedding. Oh, well, there's a funny moment where the person working at the wedding store is like, oh, your mother likes the dress. And they both are like, she's not my mother. Right. I'm not her mother. Then it's the wedding. It's the day of this very hasty wedding. Miss Jane, do you want to say I do? And she's like, I do. What's that? I do. Now, she is miserable at the reception. Her new mother-in-law comes up to her and she's like, hey, Jane, are you avoiding me? And she's like, oh, no, not at all. I got to go. And so she's left alone.
It's all about to end. She really has feelings for this guy. And her mom's about to do the thing where she makes the guy she really likes cheat on her. What a fucking horrible impression to have of all men. How do you let yourself fall in love? She's been against her own will falling in love this whole time.
Right.
And this is when she finally finds out, yep, you're just like every fucking other person ever. I can never trust my gut again.
It's interesting that she's like, she needs the con to succeed. It was her idea, but she's like, I sure hope it doesn't succeed.
Right.
But so she leaves the mother-in-law alone with Ray Liotta. And she's like, so what did you say you do? And he's like, I'm a college professor. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, what do you teach? And he's like, college stuff. What are you, a fucking cop? It's the funniest line in the whole movie. Because she's just being nice and asks him a follow-up question. You a fucking cop? Yeah. Jason Lee takes his new bride to the bridal suite, which has a star display on the ceiling.
Just like their thingy.
John Lennon's song, oh my Yoko and Mama. All right. David Mirkin is a Beatles fanatic, but I assume it is cheaper to get Beatles solo songs than Beatles songs. Proper. And she's like, listen, I love you very much. You would never do anything to like fuck up my life, would you? He's like, oh no way, no. So
is she from Canada?
Yeah. Oh. Sincerely, no, he's not. Oh. Sincerely doesn't want him to cheat on her, but it's confusing. It's all
set in motion. Let's just see. Well, I think she also just wants to see, will he do it? Like, I think this guy's different. Are my instincts fucking bad like my mom thinks? Or are they right? And so she's got a lot on the line. I mean, how is she ever going to fall or trust herself about another person later if she's totally wrong about him here?
So Jason Lee goes out to the beach and he's like looking at I'm a married man and there's stars and shit. And Sigourney Weaver's
we're all
like,
connected.
What are you doing out here, big boy?
Hey, handsome. Does anyone want to dance?
And he's like, my wife is passed out from drink. And she's like, well, I have a wedding gift for you in my suite.
That's okay, horny lady. No, it's bad luck to say no to a wedding gift. I didn't know that. Everything with weddings is bad luck. Let's go have sex.
Tries to seduce him with champagne and strawberries. It goes on a long time.
It really goes a long time.
Very cringy. It is not working.
No.
Meanwhile, Paige is waiting.
Oh, you have some creme right here.
And gets antsy and decides to go see what's going on. She goes in and sees Jack in bed with Sigourney. And he's like, what's happening? And Paige is like, no. Now we don't smash cut. We fade cut to a divorce hearing. David Mirkin is playing Jack's lawyer. And Jack is like, just give her whatever she wants. And the lawyer, David Mirkin's like, remember what I told you specifically not to say? But then Paige leaves the room. Jack follows her and he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know how I ended up in bed with your cousin or whatever.
It's weird.
And she says, no, there's only one man in the world.
I like that line.
Next, we see Paige cashing out with $1.5 million in cash. Ray Liotta and Sigourney Weaver are outside the bank. They're anxious. They're waiting for the money. But they start having this conversation where Sigourney Weaver's like, you like doing this with us. You think so low of me, but you're just like us. And
but no, this is when they talk about how I actually did love you. Like, no, you didn't love me. Yeah. You cheated on me. It's like, but you can't. Guys are guys, like not all guys. And then that's when she reveals that she micked him.
Well, yeah. You cheated on me. No, you set me up to cheat. But just because, like, even if I did, it doesn't mean that I didn't love you and kind of let slip that I still love you. But even a saint like Jason Lee, and she's like, no, I micked him. You what?
You horrible person.
He says, I thought this whole revenge thing was going to be fun, but you ruined it. I don't even want the money anymore. Sigourney Weaver's like, neither do I. And he's like, fine. Good, because I don't want it either. And she's like, fine, I'll take it. He's like, what? But she's like, I have to protect my daughter. From what? From love? From pain. Love is pain. Life is pain. You can't protect somebody from it. It's always going to get you. But sometimes life can be good. But basically says, like, cheating your daughter is the most disgusting thing you've ever done. I think so much worse of you for that than what you did to me. Mm-hmm. So next, Sigourney's in the car with her daughter. Sigourney tells her daughter, listen, I drugged Jason Lee. Sorry about that. I'm just so afraid of losing you, and I'm afraid of you getting hurt like I was hurt, but I just keep hurting you in different sick ways. So you might as well get hurt in your own healthy, normal ways.
Ways you can't blame me for.
Right. Ways you come up with on your own.
Yes.
And you can't blame me for. Now that is a great line and very good insight into parenting.
Yes. That is exactly what happens to humans.
Jennifer Love Hewitt goes in for a hug, and Sigourney's like, oh.
She's going to attack me. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's a hug. I can pull over for a hug. Yeah. I always think that's very cute. Yeah.
Next, Sigourney goes to visit Ray Liotta. He's like, yeah, I still want you. And she's like, great. But if you ever see a gorgeous woman who wants to fuck you, just remember she might be working for me.
That's hot.
He's like, that's fine. But if you're going to be my wife, you're going to have to lead a respectable life. Chopping cars. Now they finally have sexual intercourse.
I'm happy for them.
Jason Lee is being dragged back to his bar by Zach Galifianakis, and he's like, why should I go back to my bar? I have already sold it to the bank and moved all my stuff out.
That is sad.
And he's like, no,
you left
the bank said you left something.
The whole place is crowded. Where are the cars? It's in the fucking Everglades. You can't just hide all those cars. Everyone's in there.
Right. They all came by airboat. Oh. So they open the bar and it's like, surprise bar.
I don't get it. I don't own this.
What do these people here think? They're like, this crazy lady divorced him, then took her money and bought the bar back with $1.5 million, even though it cost $3 million. Anyway.
Good point.
Anyway, she hands him the deed to the bar and he's like, I'm confused, and she's like, my name is Paige.
My hair is different.
Yes, the hair is now not straight.
Right.
So
this is how you know I'm Paige. Thing. Yeah. I look like this.
So that's that. The last scene of the movie is Ray Liotta having lunch in the Swedish or the Swiss Alps or somewhere.
Saying how he's madly in love.
Bancroft. She's like, oh, Stanley.
He does look like a Stanley. So he's been turned out because Sigourney Weaver's looking at him through binoculars, laughing her ass off as he cons Barbara. It comes full circle. Kuna Matata.
That's the end of the movie.
We did it. We've done the movie. I am so fucking hungry.
So that's Heartbreakers, a fun time, I think a pretty flawed movie. And as much as I like David Mirkin as a writer and as a showrunner for The Simpsons, and I like Romy and Michele, I don't think this is a particularly well directed movie just because a lot of the jokes just don't land. And I will put that on his feet for not getting your actors, for one, just kind of not shooting it and cutting it in a way where they land. And I think Jennifer Love Hewitt is good here, but doesn't necessarily have a grasp on how to deliver the screwball lines. Jason Lee also not perfectly likable, but Sigourney Weaver's
neither here nor there.
Right. Sigourney Weaver's so great. Ray Liotta's so great.
They
Gene
overcome.
Hackman's great. I give it 3 stars. It's a fun movie. It's way too long.
It is way too long. I give it 3.5 just because of nostalgia and because I will continue to watch this movie if someone asks me to. It has rewatchability for me. I just find it fun and bright and cheerful, and it's a good time.
It's the kind its length might help. You're like, yeah, just if it's on TNT. That's how nobody does anymore.
That's really how I absorb movies as a younger person. It was just like, how long can you entertain me?
My apologies. It would be TBS, not TNT.
Oh, thank you.
TBS is comedy. TNT is drama.
Is taken.
What's coming up next week? Well, next week, April begins, and we're keeping this Hackman train going with Superman 1978.
Ugh. Sounds fucking boring. Let's do it.
I don't know what Lacey's going to think about this movie.
I'm already over it.
So incredible is Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. This is a great movie. This is one of the great superhero movies. but the things I like about it are things Laci's going to say, who cares?
We'll see, because we've already
I
proven
don't
you
know
don't.
you.
All right, fuck you.
We have our Royal Tenenbaums episode coming
Yes.
out before the end of March, we promise.
We totally will have that for you.
Tell a friend about our show. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please,
as long
just
as
go
it's
do that.
good.
Just go do that. Just go do it.
I'm on Letterboxd at Matt Stokes 9. Laci's on Letterboxd at Loadbring. Laci, my band, Rural Route 9, does the music for the show, and you can catch our music on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your music. The Joy of Averages is our album. You can hear songs, including the one you're listening to right now.
Okay, I love you. Goodbye.
Three, four. Everybody, love me.